Audio. This podcast is called Obsessed. Joseph Scrimshaw and his guest get some secrets off their chest. You should listen. It's the best.
Hello and welcome to Obsessed with Joseph Scrimshaw on Feral Audio. I am your host. My name is still Joseph Scrimshaw. Have you ever wanted to be a god that controls the fate of puny mortals? Well, of course you have. You are going to love this week's episode that is all about comedian Phoebe Bottoms' obsession with the video game The Sims, with a side obsession about her new bangs. As always, you'll also hear our co-producer Sarah Meyer interviewing random human beings around Los Angeles and seeing how they feel about The Sims. Do they know The Sims? Are they addicted to The Sims like it was meth for their PC? Are they like me? Are they frightened that the real world is actually a Sims video game and the asshole playing their lives is just terrible at video games? We will find out. But before we dive deep into the seedy world of simulated humanity, it's time to answer a listener-submitted question about their personal obsession. I throw out requests for obsessions like this on my Facebook and Twitter, so if you have an obsession, and of course you do, and you'd like it addressed, follow me on the social media as @Joseph Scrimshaw. This week, my Facebook friend named Ferris Oxide says, I am obsessed with Scott Bakula. Is it okay that I even watch him in sports movies, despite really disliking sports? My initial, strong, gut answer is yes, of course it's okay. Look, Scott Bakula is a great actor to be obsessed with because he's not a controversial choice. To me, loving Scott Bakula is like loving a light breeze. No one is ever going to be upset that you like a light breeze. No one is going to write hate blogs about a light breeze. There are no Tumblrs called fuck a slight wind. Scott Bakula is like pepperoni on a pizza. Some people might try to avoid him because of dietary restrictions or whatever, but no one's going to be shocked or disgusted that you tried to put him on a pizza. It's not like you're going nuts and trying to put pineapple, i.e. John Travolta, on there. You're not putting a whole stick of beef jerky, James Franco, or a big pile of kale, Anne Hathaway, on the pizza. No, it's just pepperoni. It's Scott Bakula. It's really good, but if you don't like it, that's fine too. Now, I'm not judging any of these celebrity pizza toppings. I'm just saying no one's going to rage flip the table over Scott Bakula meat. They might flip a table over the phrase Scott Bakula meat, but that could be a table flip of rage or excitement. The point is, I think Scott Bakula is a great actor to be obsessed with because even if he's starring in a movie about a topic that you're not into, like sports, or just a plain old horrible movie, like if he remade Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and decided to play all the roles for some reason, it wouldn't matter. Because Scott Bakula already has the perfect excuse for any poor decision. Anytime you see Scott Bakula doing something you don't like, you can just imagine it's not his fault. It's just extended Quantum Leap fan fiction, and he was forced to jump into the voice work for Cats Don't Dance, which, according to Wikipedia, is a real movie from 1997 and not a Tumblr of funny cat videos. So yes, I say fuck yeah to a Scott Bakula obsession, and I can't wait to see him star in the new sports movie Sporting Sports and the Sports Players Who Sports Them, starring me. Hi, I'm Scott Bakula. Deal with it. Anyway, thanks for the fun question, Ferris, and I hope that helped a little bit. Now on to the best part of any podcast, plugs and the plugging pluggers who plug them. This very podcast, Obsessed, is made possible by your kind support on Patreon. If you'd like to help the podcast keep growing and coming out every week, you can sign up by visiting patreon.com/Joseph Scrimshaw. You will also get access to our patron-only bonus episodes for as little as $1 a month. $1 monthly. Shows. I do shows. I've got a bunch of stand-up and storytelling shows coming up in Los Angeles, but the big one right now is called Headcanon. It is tomorrow, Friday, April 1st, at Nerdish Showroom. It's a new comedy game show about pop culture that I'm doing with my pal from Thrilling Adventure Hour in the current season of the Venture Brothers, Hal Lublin. The show features guests Will Wheaton, Jeremy Carter, audience prizes, laughter, smells, other things you can only get from a live comedy experience. Tickets are available now on my website at josephscrimshaw.com/live-shows. But now, sit back, relax, make all of your Sims sit down, relax, and put their headphones on too, as you thrill to Phoebe Bottoms' obsession with her bangs, but mostly The Sims. Hello and welcome to Obsessed with me, Joseph Scrimshaw. I'm sitting in my home with an awesome person who now has bangs.
I got bangs.
Phoebe Bottoms.
Hi, and my bangs.
Phoebe Bottoms and her bangs. A great band name.
It is, and I feel like we missed our era. Me and the bangs.
You and the bangs?
Yeah, it's a Bangles cover band
Oh,
that
cool.
I feel like nobody, but we're a couple musicians short, so it's just bangs.
It's just you and the bangs.
It's just me and the bangs.
You and your hair. I bring up the bangs because when you arrived here today, that's what you were most obsessed with in the moment.
It's literally been my entire life for the last 4 days, and before that, like a quarter of my life for the last 6 months to a year.
So how long were you were thinking about getting them? For 6 months?
I feel like I've been thinking about getting them since I lost them in second grade, and now
Was it a fire? How did you lose them?
It was a dark and stormy night, and they couldn't see the road very well. We took a turn too fast, and they were gone.
Your bangs were gone.
There they went,
all long hair,
along with my innocence. So yeah, I finally was getting ready for my next haircut and put a lot of thought into like, do I do it? Do I take the leap?
Yeah.
And I decided, yes, today's the day. They call it a fringe, actually.
Oh, fringe.
It's like the legal term.
Did you have to sign a document that said you're okay getting fringed?
I did. It was a waiver saying,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, and now I talk about them so much that 2 days ago my husband was very seriously like, I can't anymore.
Just no more.
Please don't talk about your bangs.
How has your life changed now that you have bangs?
Oh,
Do you feel
boy.
more confident?
I feel like I'm surprised that when I didn't have bangs, people didn't just see me and set me on fire. Where they were like so appalled by an unbanged me.
So you thought when people were seeing you, they were seeing your potential of being a great bangs person,
or even
and saying
just,
she's letting this go,
or even just like knowing what it's like now that I was such a valueless person. And that doesn't go for everyone without bangs. I'm not
Good,
a monster.
I don't
just
have
for
bangs.
me personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't see any value in myself before 4 days ago.
I think you're probably joking a little bit.
I mean,
Well, just
you can think
little?
that if you like. Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, it was a major decision, and now that I have them, people feel comfortable coming up to me and saying, you know, I'd like bangs. And and I'm like, look, we have a group that meets every Thursday to, since that's the day I got them, so it's a weekly thing.
Why are people, now that you've become an ambassador of bangs, you probably understand this, why are people obsessed with making the decision pro or against? If bangs go wrong, what happens?
I think you look like a child. I think you look like, it's weird because it's part of your face then. Like hair's part of your face.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm real particular about my hair.
Yeah, a woman once who was trying to sell me a wedding ring in a place where there were wedding rings. It wasn't just like in an elevator like, hey, you want to buy a wedding ring?
It wasn't a trench coat.
No.
Wedding ring,
God,
buddy.
I wish that's where I would have bought it from. But she was pushing real hard for an expensive ring and tried to convince me to buy it by being like, it's the only accessory besides your hair that we wear every day. And I was like, what about your skin? And she didn't have an answer to that. Anyway, that woman does now make a valid point. I finally understand where she's coming from.
Right.
Because they are an accessory.
Right. And they're a statement.
Their statement. I'm saying, look at me, world. I have bangs.
And you're either going to be fun, playful adult
right.
who looks fashionable in now, or if they go slightly wrong, third grader.
You're going to look like third chair trombone player if you have the wrong kind of bangs.
Okay.
Yeah. And so like today, I told you earlier, like I was walking with a friend and past a vague, like not even a mirror wall, just kind of a vaguely reflective surface.
Like a dull sort of stone.
Yeah, and then like Narcissus like doubled back like a cartoon character to check who was looking at me in the mirror. And I went and I looked at my bangs and walked away, and my friend was like, what were you doing? Why were you looking at that woman? I was like, what woman? The place had been full of people, and I hadn't seen, like, my ocular nerves have been shut off to other humans. Like, I was so focused in on what my bangs looked like. So I didn't even recognize fellow human beings existing.
Right. You're like wearing your own virtual reality helmet where you only see your own bangs.
I I think part of it is they don't obstruct my vision yet.
Yeah.
But they're like in my eye line. So I'm going to say that that's why.
Just enough to say, hey, remember, I'm
just
here.
Enough to validate, like, oh, that's why I didn't see you. It's not because I'm so consumed by myself.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I have become so stupid since getting them too. I asked the same friend earlier, very seriously, like, what would it look like if you just like cut the bangs off? Like if you didn't have hair on your forehead.
Right.
I guess you just look like a bald man.
I think
she
you
was like,
would, yeah.
She's like, you just described someone who doesn't have bangs.
You would look like a really poorly designed Star Trek The Next Generation alien, I think.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But she seemed to think it was just me not being able to fathom not having bangs.
What was the world like before bangs?
Is that even an era?
Cool. Well, I'm glad to get a little bit of insight in
I'm
bangs.
glad to talk about it.
I hear people talk about them a lot.
Yeah,
but
it's
I want to
become an epidemic.
a good epidemic, right?
Hey, I'm happy about
Sweeping
it.
the nation.
There it goes.
So I want to talk a little bit about your main obsession, but first,
Yes.
Can you tell people a little bit about who you are and what you do besides having great bangs?
Sure thing, and thank you. I'm Phoebe Bottoms. I am a comedian and a puppeteer.
So many people say I am a comedian with an emotion, either a question mark or just world weariness.
I feel like if you say it as a declaration, you're not really that thing.
Oh.
Like if you're that sure about your trajectory,
Right.
like you're probably bluffing. I don't know.
You feel by saying it, you're invalidating it.
I'm a comedian.
Yeah,
like
there
that
you go.
doesn't sound right.
I'm
does
a
it?
comedian,
I'm a
damn it.
comedian.
I
Like
was born a young comedian.
like that's how you talk to a parent you're trying to get validation from, not like to yourself in reality, where it's like, I'm a comedian.
Yeah. Do you have business cards that say comedian question mark?
I think they say sloth enthusiast.
Oh, nice.
But they're stupid business cards. They're like real bad. I printed them off for a last minute trip to the World Series of Comedy like 4 years ago.
Okay.
Didn't use them once. Wasn't a good networker.
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought it's so funny that I thought then that was how you wheel and deal.
It
with,
is
with Kinko's with Kinko's brand.
Yeah.
Awful business cards. I think you can be really effective with better business cards than what I have.
Yeah.
But I was very confident that what I had created by myself was just like my Twitter handle. I'd put the little bird.
Oh,
like I
yeah.
used the signals. Signals, the symbols of said thing, like a little telephone and my phone number. I thought that was really clever.
A little rubber chicken for comedian.
Oh, that's a great idea. You know, maybe that's a missing link.
I don't think so. I've had business cards that have rubber chickens on them many, many years ago.
Did it
It
yield?
didn't impress anyone. No.
I'm impressed retroactively.
Oh, good.
You know what?
I don't think comedy is a business card business is the problem.
Yeah, you can't convey much information with a business card.
Right. And I think it's like the paper version of what you were saying. It's saying it so in such a confident way.
Right.
That it undermines.
It does. It does. Because it looks kind of like you have an agenda. I feel like anytime someone asks for a card,
right.
It's also like, it feels a little dismissive, just in my experience.
Okay.
Where it's like, oh, do you have a card? Like,
right.
You're not going to get...
Because then I don't have to talk to you, human.
Right. Then it's like, oh, I'll deal with you later. That's what that says to me is, I'll look you up.
Yeah.
But I'll probably lose it between... If they're serious, it's like, oh, let me get your name, and they put it in their phone.
Yeah.
But if you get a business card, you put it in that part of the wallet where you get, like, Quiznos receipts.
Right. I'm going to clean this out in 6 months.
Right. You're like, I don't know what to do with it. I guess I'll shove it in here with Phoebe. Phoebe Bottoms. I think that was her name.
Yeah. And it is also weird to hand them out because business cards are normally for like a specific service. So it's like, here, if you need a comedy.
Exactly. Comedy you need? Business card. Very confident.
So you are a comedian, though.
I am a comedian.
Despite any doubt.
Yes. I think.
You are.
Okay.
You do comedy. Therefore,
do.
you are a comedian.
Is that basic logic?
I think so.
I haven't taken logic.
I took it a long time ago, and I think I got a B?
I mean,
minus?
you just showed me B grade level logic skills.
There's going to be a lot more of that coming.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
So you have a comedy show that you host here in Los Angeles.
I produce and host along with a couple other people who founded the show a long time ago. The Comedy Palace, which is in the upstairs department. If something has levels, it's a department.
It's a department.
It's a department.
Comedy department.
It's like Macy's. Anyway, so it's an old Chinese restaurant. I don't know how old, but it looks like
It feels
it's
old.
super cool.
Yeah.
And it's like in another era. It's like in the era of Chinese restaurants.
It feels very lofty to do comedy there. I've done the show in the
Yeah.
past. In most comedy shows in LA are in a back room of something.
Right.
Comic book store, Chinese restaurant. But this one is above the restaurant.
You get your
so it
own,
feels very lofty.
You get your own room.
Yeah.
It's like it's a feeling of independence, which is nice. Like anytime you get your own
I'm free
section.
and on top of the world.
Yes.
I have my own bedroom and it's on top of a Chinese restaurant.
Like a studio apartment. Yeah, so that's been really nice. I enjoy that. So yes,
Awesome.
I feel weird about saying I'm a comedian when I don't have anything going on.
Okay.
So I have a thing.
Right. So you have a thing now.
I have a thing.
Yeah.
I do comedy.
Cool.
That's as confidently as you'll ever hear me say that. I do comedy.
Excellent. So let's talk a little bit about your obsession then.
Okay.
So your obsession is The Sims.
Yeah.
So what first got you hooked on The Sims? What is your first Sims experience?
I'm obsessed with the nostalgia of it. And it was an old, I don't know if I've played a video game in nigh on 3 years.
Okay,
I think
so
my
way
husband,
pre-bangs.
we set, can we not talk about that?
Sorry.
Can we not bring, I don't, it throws me off to think about who I was
Fair
without
enough.
bangs.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
That's my old life. Thank you.
It's before Phoebe.
It's before the real me.
Yeah.
It's the resurrection. Post Easter bangs. That doesn't matter. Okay. So here's the thing. I think the last video game I played was on a 12-inch screen. I played Pikmin
Okay.
3 years ago, but I'm still obsessed with The Sims. I still love the bygone era of it.
Okay.
Because I played it so much when I was little. Because I think it was before parents caught on. They were just like, oh, she's quiet. Here,
Right.
take the Sony Vaio into your room.
You're just quietly doing something. It's not that the video games are raising you.
And I wasn't young enough that it was a concern. Oh, you should, I went to Waldorf. So I think at that point my parents were like, you're fine.
Okay.
You have an imagination that you can make stuff out of sticks. So they teach you at Waldorf. What a weird upbringing.
And now,
yeah.
Waldorf is that the arts high school?
It's I went there for preschool. It's pre-K through 12th grade. And I
Okay.
think they have a college. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But it's a hippie, vaguely culty program.
And is it in Minnesota? I know you are
It's
from
everywhere.
Minnesota. Okay.
I am from Minnesota.
Oh, but the Waldorf schools, right? They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's cool. It's cool. But they have a lot of strict rules about
Okay.
what you can and can't do. So which makes it a little scary.
Yeah.
Even just recently I was like, wait, what? What happened there? So you're not allowed to watch TV at all.
Okay.
They discourage books with pictures. They discourage toys that have been manufactured
Monsters.
with faces. They don't want you playing with toys that have faces.
So they'd be okay with a tank, but Thomas the Tank Engine is evil.
If that tank were made out of wool and
Okay.
twine, they'd be probably okay with it. But it has some connotations of conflict, so let's just assume you could have.
So, that's a horrible thing to teach you, that human emotion is...
No. But here's the thing about it, which I'm like, all right, it's because they want you to be able to use the height of imagination possible. So you
Right.
project the emotion onto it. So,
Okay.
But it's terrifying to actually think about it. So my mom said that one of the things about it that was probably why we didn't continue is that it then becomes their full-time job. It's a whole thing. There's mandatory activities for the parents to
Okay.
do. And so she had to make me a rag doll
With no face.
with no face. It was terrifying.
She had to make you a Doctor Who
Because
monster.
she's not a textile person. I don't know what the term is. She's not good at it.
Right.
It was fine, but
Did she make you a freakish, bad, monstrous doll with no face?
It was as scary as a blue rag doll with no face can be. Not very,
Sounds
but
very scary to me.
now that I'm looking back on it, it's more upsetting to me than I think it was then. I just didn't know any better. They also, oh my God, they also take your name away from you and give you a symbol. I was Sailboat for my first introduction into society, into like as an autonomous person.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, you're Sailboat.
And they assigned you Sailboat. They didn't let you pick Sailboat.
They should totally have let me pick Sailboat.
Yeah, they want you to be creative.
Or something, because it wouldn't have been Sailboat. I'm not a Sailboat. Look at me right now and tell me that my name is Sailboat.
No, you're not a Sailboat.
It's not. What would you...
oh man, that's a hard challenge.
Even like can would be better.
Can.
Like a can.
I would say slightly deflated basketball.
That's perfect. That's much better than Sailboat.
It sounds really insulting, but it felt honest in the moment.
It described that. We'll deal with that later.
Fair enough.
I feel like that's maybe the best description of me anyone's ever conjured up. Nothing about me says Sailboat.
No.
It's also weirdly affluent for the Waldorf people to be pushing. I think by the time they got to me, even though I'm early in the alphabet, they like ran out of ideas.
Are they all affluent? Are some of the names things like textiles made by poor people? That's
Tennis
your name
court.
now. Tennis court.
No, I mean they're very
Gold
like
bullion.
They're like all made out of granola. So all the people who work there.
Okay.
So like I don't know where Sailboat came from. It was a pretty standard Sailboat though. It was like Old Man in the Sea.
So did the old man have a face?
I mean,
there wasn't an actual old man in the sailboat.
There wasn't an old man in the sailboat.
Okay.
Had there been, no face for him. So what? Oh yeah, and it was anyway. So they like wouldn't let you. They wouldn't say no to stuff you were doing because it was about self-exploration,
Right.
which they had some issues with me because the school was in the like lower level of a church next to a county road, and that county road had a little runoff swamp underneath it, which was like our play area. And I would go there with a stick and scoop pond scum off of it and suck on it. And they were like, you definitely can't do that, but we don't know how to tell you that without...
If that's how you want to express yourself, Sailboat, by eating pond scum.
That's like all I want. I was a sailboat. I was nautical. I wanted to connect. So but it was covered in gasoline because it was right next to this road.
Right, so that's kind of a health issue, a safety issue.
Oh, it's real bad to suck on gasoline-soaked duckweed out of a swamp that smells like... I remember the smell of it. I also ate dish soap.
Okay.
It was a bummer. It was like a total shame, but they were so much happier when I'd like bring my dead fish wrapped in cellophane and go bury it in the woods. That was another thing I did.
Okay.
So they'd kind of redirect me, I think. But I think that's also why I'm bad at math now, is because I'm just like riddled with oil. I'm full of crude.
Right.
I'm half crude oil.
You're half crude oil.
Thanks, Waldorf. And so they were like, go play with your sticks. Like we had a tree house in our classroum.
Oh,
which was cool.
Inside your classroom?
Yeah,
was there
that
a tree
was neat.
in there too? Or just a tree house?
Like a dead tree. I think it was like I have a picture of it. It looks like dead wood, sort of.
Okay.
What is that? Not dead wood. There
That's
were no
a
laws in the
television show.
treehouse also.
And they said cocksucker a lot.
No,
yeah.
it's petrified wood.
Petrified. Oh, yeah.
I think that's what it was. And they like built this cool treehouse. But like everything we did was like sticks and leaves. So there are these little like stick structures. It's where the Yellow King in True Detective would send his kid to school, barring that he didn't murder that kid first.
Right.
If the kid made it past the Yellow King and he was like, I'll nurture you, I'm going to send you to Waldorf.
Okay.
So you could learn how to make demonic twig,
with no
figures.
faces. So
with no faces.
Maybe you went to Waldorf.
Maybe I did. I could still become a serial killer.
I believe in you.
So, okay. So now going back to The Sims. So
Yeah.
I didn't progress through Waldorf. My mom wanted me to. I don't know what happens. I got chewed up and spit out in the public school system, which I'm very happy for, by the way. So I think that my excitement for this video game, I can't tie it back to Waldorf. I don't know how to do that. I guess maybe the deprivation in my young childhood of technology then brought me to Sims later. That's the best I can do.
Did you like the structure of it?
Of Waldorf?
No,
The
of
Sims?
The Sims.
Oh, yeah. I liked...
They all had faces.
I'm going to level with you. Scrimshaw.
Thank you, Bottoms.
Here's the things I liked about The Sims. I liked to set them on fire and watch them have sex. Those are the only things I did. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to build a society. I played SimCity when I was little in my best friend's basement.
Okay.
And that was like, okay. It's like, oh, yeah, we can build a tower and some aliens will come and eat it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so I haven't played The Sims, so because I like video games a lot, but I border on addiction problems, and The Sims always seemed like that's a recipe for addiction.
It's a total bummer. Like you get sucked down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Because, so here's what I would do. I would go into settings, and there's a box that says free will.
Oh.
And you can uncheck that box. And so I would build them this like palatial home. I found a cheat code that gave you all the money you could ever want. It was semicolon, semicolon, rosebud. I still remember it because I hope maybe I can apply that to my real life someday.
Do you just try to enter that in random computers and see if you get things?
I go into the library and I give it a shot. It hasn't worked yet. But sometimes I find nickels.
Cool.
In the library. So coincidence?
I don't think so.
I think so. I don't think so. So I would take their free will and then I'd build them this amazing home. And it would be beautiful. I'd give them a pool because I'm a benevolent overlord.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I'm not a monster.
You were giving them a good life.
Gave them a great life. I let them get so happy. They were just like, oh, what bliss. We're great. Us Sims.
While you were doing that, did you think I'm giving them a better life than I have when I'm eating pond scum off a stick?
No, that's the happiest I've ever been until now that I have bangs. The height of my satisfaction as a human is sucking on pond scum. I can never get back there.
Yeah, you can
Everything I do is just trying to get back to pond scum.
That's what comedy
really
is for you.
That's my rosebud.
When you die, sucking on pond scum.
Semicolon, semicolon, rosebud. They're like, what is it? Oh, it's this scum.
Okay. So you built them this beautiful life.
So I built them this beautiful home. And then some time would go by.
And it's just one family in this version of Sims.
It's like a guy. It's like a bachelor.
Okay. Just some dude. Did
He's
he have a name?
Some dude. I don't remember what I named them. Probably I named a lot of things like Bob.
But he had his own name and it was a human name.
Let's call him Dennis.
Dennis.
Yeah.
Okay. You gave Dennis a beautiful palatial life.
I got him interested in the arts. Then I moved another woman in. Let's call her Marian.
Okay.
Marianne.
Marian?
I don't know.
Marianne. I like Marian.
Marian. Let's call her Marian and Dave.
Dennis and Marian.
Dennis and Marian.
Okay, Dennis and Marian.
So I would get her like interested in art and he would become a good scientist. You could buy them this like science kit.
Okay.
And I got a lot of those in the house. Anyway, so a day would come when I'd be like, hey, maybe you guys seem really comfortable. I feel like maybe you should experience some discomfort. So I would I'll just go through the list of things that I would do to them. It's easier than stringing it together as a narrative.
Okay, fair enough.
One thing I would do is I would keep them from going to the bathroom forever because they needed me to tell them to go because I am their lord.
Right. I need to insert a question just on a practical level.
Absolutely.
This version of Sims, what version of it?
Like the first one.
Like Sims. Okay.
This is like...
So all the things you were doing to them were things that you normally could do in the game. They weren't elaborate cheat codes you had discovered.
No. This is the beauty of The Sims. This is why it's such a good game is because you can...
just control them.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would...
it's a great game.
You would refuse them bathroom privileges.
I would. So they would become... Their little, their diamonds floating above their heads should be bright green.
Right.
As green as a fresh meadow.
Happy and balanced.
And it would become ruby red very quickly.
And does that mean just rage? That they are shaking their fists at God because they can't piss?
No, that's like a nice Christmas red.
Okay.
But the red I would get them to is death is better.
Satan is chewing on my soul.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine having to pee so bad, but you can't until an invisible hand allows you to.
I have a tiny bladder and I'm in misery right now just thinking about it.
Absolutely. So that ruby red.
Okay,
so they would be like, oh, I have to pee, and then they would finally just piss their pants and be standing in a pool of their own urine.
Right.
And then I'd make them plug a lamp in and they'd get electrocuted.
Okay.
That was, boy, when I found that out,
Yeah.
great day.
Yeah, amazing discovery.
So then they would have all the sex.
Okay.
Because that was kind of, I was like,
Yeah.
you can do this.
Well, I want to separate murder from sex, just for fun.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a separate section. You're right.
Okay, so let you set them on fire as well.
Set them on fire. So
How else did you torture them?
Well, here's the other thing. You can, as I mentioned earlier, the science kits, he really loved those.
Okay.
But the funny thing is I think it must have been meth, because if you do it wrong, they explode. So a fun thing to do is build a room with no door around them with just him and the science kit, and he
just Dennis
does
alone.
it, and then it explodes and he burns to death, and then you have a little urn. So I would do that. My favorite thing was to sleep deprive them for days.
Okay. And then they just go crazy, right?
They'd be so sleepy. And then I would say, hey, let's go for a swim. I built you this great pool. Let's use it. And they're like, no, I'm too tired. Please just let me go to bed. I'm like, no. Take a dip. And then push them in the pool with my invisible
God hand.
And then I'd pause the game and take away the ladder, and they'd drown. It's like, don't go swim. Don't fall asleep in water, idiot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now my question before we get to the sex, staying on the murder, did you feel like their lives were too good and hubris had set in and they needed to be punished? Why did you do the murderous things to Dennis and Miriam?
It was just so fun.
Yeah.
I don't think it was hubris. I think it was just the excitement that I could take it from them, which is the worst option of those. I could lie to you and say, like, yeah, it's hubris. They were bad people. They were good citizens.
Yeah.
You know, they went to bake sales in their neighborhood. They were,
they were good people.
They were good people. And I thought that needed to go away.
Yeah. Now, I'm not judging, because I actually think The Sims is pretty honest and creative, because I have murdered probably millions of people playing first-person shooters.
Right.
And that tries to, like, make it glamorous of, like, James Bond is saving the world by
the point.
Figuring out a trick where Russians will just keep coming, and I'm going to keep shooting them with my AK-47 until I can't see the rest of the hallway. Like, I've done creepy things like that, and Sims is at least creative.
It means something when you take a life. And here's the thing is I've always enjoyed the comedy of failure in virtual games. I was a terrible Oregon Trail player. that was okay. In senior year of high school, our American history teacher was also retiring. So we were all suffering from senioritis. It was the last semester of the year.
Yeah.
And he decided, after we watched Ken Burns' The West, he's like, the grad standard for this class, your final, is making it through Oregon Trail. And I killed them so much, he eventually just played the game for me.
Just to get you out of there?
Just to get me to
Did you kill him on purpose?
No, I didn't.
You were just an incompetent Oregon Trail player?
I died quickly.
Okay.
A lot of dysentery. I didn't cock and float well. I think that's safe to say that wasn't the height of my skill.
That's my favorite quote ever now.
Thank you. I have it tattooed on my back. It doesn't usually get interpreted the right way.
Fair enough.
I know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I never bought enough dry goods. Like, they always ran out of jerky and seeds. So they starved.
Okay.
Anyway, but I'd play Mavis Beacon a lot. Do you remember Mavis Beacon?
I didn't play Mavis Beacon, no.
Okay, it was a typing game, because that was back when Windows 96, when they were like, I guess we should teach this next generation how to type.
Right.
Because that seems like it might be important. So there was a part of it where it was you had to type quickly, and there was a grocery checkout.
Right.
What's it called?
The beeper?
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, nouns are hard.
It's a very, very simple word, and I'm having...
Scanner.
No, the thing they slide on.
The conveyor?
The conveyor. Can you cut that out? Can we just... Here, let me take two. There was a game where you put the items on a conveyor belt
I'm
at a
probably not
grocery
going to
store.
cut it out.
Fuck. Okay. So they put it on the conveyor belt, and then you had to type the thing, and if you didn't get the words right, they would fall and smash on the ground.
Okay.
And I would purposely go out of my way to mess it up so badly that by the end of it, there's just eggs and jam everywhere. So I think that was my first inclination that I was like, oh, it can go bad.
Yeah.
It can go wrong. There doesn't have to be a happy ending.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about The Sims, I'm just realizing, is that I think just the excitement that the creator let you do that to them was so fun. Because honestly, like, where do you end up with that before it gets boring?
Right.
Like, where do you go if you're not going to murder them? Because otherwise you're just playing house. And I can do that with my friends. I'm a child. But I'm not watching violent movies. Like, I'm not
Right, so you didn't have any other outlet.
Yeah, like, I wasn't absorbing like a lot of bad content or anything. So my mind was like, oh, that's kind of fun that you can just murder them and there's no consequences. Right. And that's like,
it's a natural.
That's so interesting that the creator, Will Wright, would like add into it where you can take it in any direction you want. And that's how I liked it. I liked it to have this like dramatic end to their little narratives.
Right. Actual freedom.
Right. I mean, it was gratifying to like make a story that mattered because it was like their lives meant something.
Yeah,
like I was making a really good horror movie.
You were making like little French art films about suffering.
You could play the game in black and white. They smoked a lot.
Okay, so tell me about having them have sex then. Okay. How did that work in the game?
Someone would like come over. I don't know where they came from.
You don't know where they came from?
I don't know because
how did you order up Miriam?
They were like 5 houses on the block, and if you tried to go past that, it was just gray.
Okay.
Like this was
nothing mattered after that point. It's just the abyss.
Before expansive worlds were even created. It was just like, oh, this is your street. Nothing matters beyond this. So your sex pool is very condensed.
Very limited. Yeah.
Into one area. So I think they were kind of like a swingers community by the time I got there. So someone would come over and you like have them do the informal chats and whatever, like, hey, how you doing?
Okay.
And then eventually things would escalate and you'd send them, you had to buy, I think, a special sex bed.
Okay.
Like it was like heart-shaped or red or something.
And did it cost money, like to actually buy from the company?
It was very expensive.
Like if your Sims are going to get lucky, you're going to pay.
Oh, no. None of the cost of things went back to anybody.
Okay.
It was just the Rosebud. Like you were given a budget and then they had to get jobs to keep paying. But that's the thing is because I knew the code, they were in the 1% of their neighborhood without ever having to work. They were like trust fund Sims.
Okay, trust fund Sims.
So I would buy them a bed in every room.
Okay, so they could just suddenly have sex in the bathroom if they wanted.
If there was a bed in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, why not?
Yeah.
So they'd like go under the covers and they'd kind of blur it and jostle around and little hearts would come up and I found that very exciting. And then they'd have a baby.
So how old were you when you were having them make sweet Sim love?
I want to say it was pre-bat mitzvah. I was still a Jewish child. I wasn't a Jewish adult yet.
Okay.
I'm going to say like 11 or 12.
Okay.
I was still listening to Nickelback. And honestly, whenever I think about The Sims, like when I was like prepping to learn, I was like, oh, what do I talk about? I've had Nickelback stuck in my head since then.
So the Sims would make love to the sweet strains of Nickelback.
In my head, yeah.
In your head, you'd be singing Nickelback.
Like, never made it as a, and then like, yeah, get it, Sim. Couldn't cut it as a poor mist. Sometimes I sing that in my car, and I'm the thing I'm most afraid of is the phone being on without me knowing.
Somebody hearing you.
I would just drive into oncoming traffic if I found that out to be true. Anyway, so they would, so they'd have sex and they'd have a baby, and then what I would do with the baby. Would
the baby happen immediately, or would it be like 9 months later, or would you have to wait in the game?
Their gestation period they had a really quick turnaround.
Okay.
So they would make raucous love in their expensive velour bed.
Yes, hearts everywhere.
And then I almost feel like the baby would pop up next to them.
So like it was almost like
it happened
like
pretty
Mario
quickly.
hitting a brick, like coins fall out, they hit each other and a baby falls out.
Is that not how it usually works in regular life?
I think so. It's real fast. I haven't done it myself.
The baby
part.
Out. Okay. Because I've just had coins come out up until
it
this
happens.
point. Yeah, let's safely say it took like 2 days in sim years.
Okay.
Which was like, an hour.
Okay.
So they'd have the baby, and then what I would do when things took a turn for the worst is I would build a room around the baby with no doors, and it would cry, and they couldn't get to the child.
So would Dennis's proper sex partner who had birthed the baby still be around? Well,
I am assuming I had killed her a while ago. Or had I allowed her to live to hear the screams of her child locked into a room that they can't break into. It got dark, man.
This is dark.
But here's also what happened
Yes.
is Will Wright, again, the creator of the game,
right,
was like, I don't think we can kill babies. So he made these like CSP agents.
Okay.
No, CPS, Child Protective Services, who would come and they'd like walk into the wall for a while and be like, how do I get to this neglected baby?
Right.
And they couldn't. And so they would turn into pure energy and get into the room and take the baby, and they'd like...
So in a way, the game was set up to judge you. If you started creating the life of Dennis the serial killer, where he makes love to a woman, murders her, and then traps a baby in a room, that the game itself would intervene.
Dennis would never murder them.
Okay.
Dennis can't murder.
Oh, Dennis can't murder. They would just die in his company.
Yes.
They would...
Which looks suspicious, I agree.
Okay.
I absolutely... Had the neighbors been coming around and had the ability to ask questions, which they didn't because I created them.
Woman urinate on herself and plug in the lamp? How did that happen,
she
Dennis?
electrocuted just out of nowhere? Why is that non-room on fire, and why are there screams? No one asked the hard questions. So, and like a fireman would show up.
Okay.
And he also had the ability to like dissipate and move into a room that he couldn't get into.
Okay.
But they never died. Oh boy, did I... That's what I would do. Child Protective Services would come. I'd pause the game and build a room around both of them.
Okay.
Hoping that I could murder someone I didn't create. Never happened. Okay. Then she would disappear. And get out of the house.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, apparently you just have to wait for the kid to grow up.
In that,
because after he was not a child, I could kill him again. Because in theory, all Sims start out as babies.
Right. So how long does it take for the baby to get to a murdering age?
I mean,
so much darker than I expected.
Yeah, that's a bad sentence. That sentence makes it seem like it wasn't a good idea. No, it was a good idea. It wasn't the moral thing to do.
Right, but you're young and you're playing around with these ideas of what is life and death, and it's the video game sets you up to do it.
Yeah, I don't need to justify it. I stand by my actions.
Fair enough.
But now I understand that maybe there's some weight to what I did. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they're ripe for the picking around like 4 days, maybe.
And how old were they then?
Let's say 21.
Okay, yeah.
Old 25.
Enough, 25. Old enough to be an asshole.
Old enough to have gotten comfortable in their life as an adult.
Right.
And that's when I would bring the axe down. The proverbial sim axe.
So you never played the game in a sort of gamified way to like try to win and do the best. You played it to play around with the ideas of life and death.
Yeah, that's never been part of my personality. I would play Grand Theft Auto and like free play. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would like walk around. My best friend Marie and I, who also had SimCity originally, got me into The Sims. Her brothers had Grand Theft Auto, and we'd sit downstairs and I would be the guy driving the car, and I'd get out and be like, hey, do you have a newspaper? And like ask people for things, but beat the shit out of them mercilessly while I'm like trying to make conversation. So I never have played a video game where I wasn't already terrible at it. This might just be a mask for me just being a really... Like, I'm the person walking into walls 100% of the time.
Okay.
I don't know how to turn around or walk as a first game player.
Okay.
So my only option is violence.
To play.
The
open
and I have a lot of fun with it. Except for Crash Bandicoot. I took Crash Bandicoot very seriously.
Okay.
I never let him die without... Like, if I were on trial for crimes against humanity and murder in a court of, like, sim law, I would bring Crash Bandicoot in to be, like, one of my, like...
Your character witness?
Yeah, to be like, Oh, no, she's great. I got a lot of crates. I made it through a lot of levels.
She took very good care of me.
I have so many plums to show for it. And also Donkey Kong. I played a lot of Donkey Kong and really enjoyed that. I like level games. I don't like games with open endings. I like to end.
You like to end things.
I liked to end.
That's very clear. So you play this a lot.
Yeah.
You learned about life and death, and you had fun and experimented in creativity.
Yes.
And learned about sex and baby making.
Yep.
Why do you think back on it now? You don't play it much now. Why does it remain present in your mind?
I mean, I hate to say that it shaped who I am today. But I think I did develop a sense of humor from it. Mm-hmm. The levity of the darkness was really fun to me. Yeah. Because I wasn't doing it to hurt them. It was just funny. It was just, I was doing it to hurt them, absolutely. But that was hilarious. And I thought kind of making these little movies out of it in my head added this fun narrative in a way that, you know, if it had just gone on, it's just life in the suburbs again.
Yeah.
So it's really just nostalgia. I just enjoy thinking of that time curled up in my bed with this old stupid computer. The only other service that computers had was hamsterdance.com.
Yeah.
It's like I'd go to Hamsterdance and kill Sims.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to say nostalgia.
Okay.
That's why I reflect on it.
And it makes sense that it would shape your comedic perspective. Because I've always thought, since I was very young, that it's really funny in video games to try to make them do the things that on the surface are not the point of the video game.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also defy the rules of it was really fun. Where it's like, I know this isn't how the game's played, but that's why I don't like apples to apples.
Okay.
It's like, there's 3 options of how to make this turn out. And no matter what, like you can't change the course of it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to be railroaded in games, just like you don't want to be railroaded in life. You don't want to be stuck with sailboat. You want to eat the pond scum.
I want to eat the pond scum so bad. I want to be deflated basketball. Let me just be deflated basketball.
Have you ever heard of a video game called The Sims?
Sure, I know SimCity and all the Sims. Uh-huh.
Do you ever play The Sims?
No, I don't. My family does.
What about you? Do you play video games?
Candy Crush.
Have you ever played The Sims?
I have not. I'm familiar with it, and I just have never done it.
Yo, yeah, The Sims, yeah. I've heard of The Sims. It's like buy houses and land and make a community, make a neighborhood and everything.
What's the weirdest thing that you've ever made a character do?
Oh, wow. I don't even know.
What's the weirdest thing you would make a character do?
Fornicate, I don't know.
If we were in The Sims right now and somebody was controlling us, what do you think? Are they doing a good job?
No, they're not.
I think they're doing a great job. Everything is good right now. The economy good. Well, the world's almost good. Who wouldn't be happy out here, right?
I think they're doing a fantastic job because somehow I've been able to come from the Midwest out to this beautiful country and walk along the beach every day. And what more could you ask for?
What if you were a Sim and somebody was controlling you right now? Are they doing a good job?
Well, this isn't a bad place to be honest with you. So a few changes would be maybe I'd be jumping off a cliff somewhere. I like skydiving and jumping.
I was going to say, that sounds dramatic.
Yeah, don't have a death wish.
That's good. If you could control people in real life, like they do in The Sims, what would you make them do?
I would make them, if I can control people in real life, I would make them love one another and stop the violence and the hatred.
If you could control somebody's day, what would it be like?
Well, they'd probably be surfing right now or diving or in the water, because that's basically what I love to do.
Well, I think I'd have them go do some really glamorous... at one point, I was in the art world, and I'd probably have them go off to their gallery and talk with famous people and enjoy life and spew wonderful things to people.
Okay.
We're going to move on to our How Obsessed Are You questions.
Wonderful.
So I ask these questions of everybody. There's no judgment. You can answer however you want.
I'm the least afraid of judgment at this point. We've long since burned that bridge. There's no going back.
Do you think about The Sims every day?
Not every day, but when I do think about it, it's a lot.
Okay.
And it's very, with a lot of affection.
So The Sims don't just gently pass through your mind. You're like, fuck it, I'm going to think about The Sims hard now.
Oh, like I budget time for it?
Yeah.
Or it's like, okay, it's Wednesday. It's a Wednesday, and it's 4:15. It's time to talk about The Sims.
It's Sims Think Day.
No, it floats in and out a lot, actually. It's like, especially once Second Life started up again, and it was kind of, people were kind of getting back into simulated lives. I was like, oh, The Sims. And then like I wrote a joke about it, and so I guess I think about it on that level.
Okay.
It's like sometimes it's more like, should I do that joke tonight? No, it's
cool.
5 years old.
Do you have like a whole bit about The Sims?
I do.
Oh, that's awesome.
I do. Yeah, and it could even be more elaborate.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Oh, I want to hear that.
Okay.
I'm gonna make a personal request for that the next time I
Wonderful.
see you do comedy.
I can make that happen.
Excellent. Would you start a conversation with a random stranger about The Sims?
Absolutely, I would. I feel like okay, you and I are at a bus stop.
Right.
We've never met before.
Cool.
I bring The Sims up. I try to find a way to interject it in
Casually.
any conversation I have immediately. And I find out that either you also played The Sims the way I did, or appreciate kind of the idea of that.
French art, death, sex films
Yeah.
in The Sims.
We would then become best friends instantly.
Yeah.
I don't care what your past includes. I now know that you're worth keeping in my life forever.
Worth the investment, right.
Right. So even in casual conversation, it's like, are you worth it? It's a litmus test.
Yeah, cool. That's great. Would you get a tattoo inspired by The
Absolutely.
Sims? Do you already have a Sims tattoo?
I do.
You do? Can you tell what it is?
I don't have a tattoo
You
of The Sims.
liar.
I was hoping if you didn't ask, I could get one in time.
Just real quick.
To be like, no, look.
I
here it
don't
is.
demand to see the tattoo.
No.
So would you ever get a Sims tattoo?
Maybe like one of the little urns that they turn into after would be fun. Like on my ankle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the urn distinctive enough that other Sims players would recognize that as, oh, a Sims urn, like it would be a conversation starter, or would it be just for you?
I think that one's just for me. Here's the thing is, I love The Sims, but if someone saw my ankle tattoo, which would probably be like less than an inch big of a urn, and they were like, oh, a Sims urn, I would be like, please leave me alone. That recognition would be a little much for me.
Okay, so the bus stop encounter with a stranger is fun bonding, but if they zero in on your Sims tattoo, that's too much.
Well, when you put it like that, maybe I'm off base.
But I think tattoos are different. It's a personal thing.
Tattoos are different. It's just the instant recognition of that kind of an urn would be a little it would be a little unsettling, not a deal breaker.
Right, because it's not just recognizing, oh, The Sims, it's a symbol of death in The Sims.
Right, which...
Let's chat.
I mean, I have no place to be judgmental about that as I'm thinking of it, so that's fine. Yes.
Would you, well, this is a dumb question. I ask all these questions regardless, and then sometimes they match up.
No.
Would you write slash fiction about The Sims? But you kind of already did by playing it.
I have, I think.
But have you written, like, actual slash fiction?
I literally thought you meant slash fiction.
Yeah.
Like slasher fiction.
Oh, no, not like slasher,
Not
not
like
like murder,
murder.
but like sexy times.
Yeah, I would, absolutely.
Yeah.
Erotic fan fiction about
Yeah.
The Sims. Yeah, I could recount some more of the interpersonal stuff I gave them when they were writhing around in their little bed.
Some of the pillow talk that Dennis and Miriam had.
Yep.
Would you break up with someone? I know you're married, but in theory, would you break up with someone who didn't like The Sims?
I don't know why being married makes that not an option.
All right. Would you divorce
I
your
would
husband?
divorce my husband. If he wasn't... I mean, I might leave him over this bangs thing of him not being as... He likes my bangs, but he's not into him as much as I am. I might leave him for that. I'll just lump in the Sims thing.
The Sims is
as part of
secondary.
Yeah, but also... I don't think I'd be with someone in the first place who wasn't like, yeah, the Sims are fine.
Yeah, yeah. Now, a side question about the bangs.
Please.
Your husband's he's tired of you being obsessed with them?
He
wants to hear some other topics?
Of hearing me talk about it.
Okay.
He's so tired of... I think he thought once the conversation about whether or not I should get them ended, he was scot-free.
Yeah, and then surprise, sequel.
Not the case. Now it's worse than ever. It's really escalated quite rapidly.
Okay.
And he can't deal with it.
Okay. My next question here. Would you cosplay as the Sims at a convention?
I do every day as a walking simulated person.
Fair enough. If you're going to like San Diego Comic-Con or one of the big conventions
Right.
and you were trying to communicate to people, I'm dressed up as something and I like the Sims.
That would be really fun. I mean, I could set myself on fire in a way, like not literally in protest.
Yeah.
People are like, why are you sitting on the lawn of the White House on fire? It's like, Sims cosplay. Yeah, I would like do a thing where it's like either on fire or like maybe drowning, like maybe get some fabric like under my neck or something, and then write Sims, because I think everybody is aware of how you can play The Sims, and appreciates that. So I think it would be identifiable if you like gave them enough information
to figure out
the suit.
Yeah, I'm dressed up as the fun Sims, the real Sims.
Right. Sims After Hours.
Sims After Hours. Nice. My last how obsessed are you question is, if you could not play The Sims without you or someone you love first being punched in the crotch, would you still play The Sims?
I mean, it would just make it better. I think at this point
it would just enhance the deviancy.
It would like make it more dangerous than it already is. The stakes would be higher.
Yeah.
How hard is the punch?
It's graze. It's a graze. It's just enough to make you think about life.
It's not like an uppercut.
No.
To the balls.
It's from not the best angle. So it's like more about...
It's like front on.
It's front on.
Like
and it's more about
punch.
It's a chicken punch. A chicken punch to the crotch. And it's more about the fear of like, is this going to hurt really bad or not? And like, it's just...
Oh my. That makes it worse.
Yeah.
That like... The anticipation of how bad it's going to be, the severity of the chicken punch, it's a real shame. No, my answer doesn't change.
Yeah, you would take it.
I would forsake anything
for The Sims.
If you were like, we'll cut your bangs off, I'd say no.
I might add that to my how obsessed are you.
Oh, please do.
Would you cut your own or someone else's bangs off?
I would rather hobble my own husband
than lose your bangs.
Like in Misery, you know how she does it? Like that, I would do. I would like break his ankles with a mallet before I let someone cut my bangs.
Did you ever do that to the Sims guy, to Dennis?
Oh, God. If there's an extension pack.
Sure, there's a hobble option.
Oh, God. If I played it again, I would do it like Misery, where it's like, I'd get him in a car accident and be like, oh, you're a novelist. I love your novels. And then I'd just make them lay in bed and write. And then I'd break their ankles and murder them.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I've been asking people to make a noise to sum up their obsession. Can you make a noise that sums up your obsession with The Sims?
Ah! Just a guttural scream.
Did Dennis scream?
They like flail. They kind of like...
Sort of a like Kermit if he was dying.
Yeah, or you know the air-filled wiggly car dealership balloons? Kind of like that.
Okay.
Kind of like violent, but... tired.
But like, I'm dying and these cars are on a great discount.
Exactly like that. That's exactly what it's like.
Excellent. I've also been rating people's obsessions. Now, you seem like you are pretty obsessed, but you don't actively do this all the time. It's like you said, part of it is the obsession with thinking through the past and the beauty of it. So I'm going to give you like 4 out of 7 Dennises.
Oh, it's a 7 Dennis scale?
Yeah, it's a 7 Dennis scale. I think you're at about a 4. Does that seem fair? I think a 4
is absolutely fair. Especially now compared to like I told you earlier, I haven't had an obsession I get really, really into things. So that's not fair to say. I don't have like one long extended obsession. But in the heat of my bangs obsession, that's a 7 Dennis on the Dennis scale.
Yeah.
So now knowing what that's like, comparing it to Sims... To anything. Drinking water is a 4 on it. It's a 4 Dennis.
It's a 4 Dennis. Fair enough. Is there anything that you would like to plug? Where can people find you on social media?
Twitter at Phoebe Bottoms, PHOEBE, with that. And at Comedy Palace, LA is my room every Thursday at 9.
Nice.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
This week is a good show. My mom's in town. So we're doing... I don't know what we're doing for that. Maybe she'll host with me.
Oh, yeah, that would be great.
I think
Does your mom do stand-up?
She doesn't do stand-up, but she's a dancer and my whole family's in theater, so she's
Right.
definitely not like, oh, don't bring me up on stage. She'll probably just like do like imitations of animals or something like that. It's pretty much the only skill I have, thanks to my upbringing. And then what else? I've got shows in Minneapolis in June. I think the 17th and 18th.
Oh, cool.
I'm at the Corner Bar,
Awesome.
so that'll be fun. And I think those are like the main things right now.
Awesome. And that's just a straight stand-up show at
Yeah,
Comedy
it's called
Corner
Triple
Underground?
Feature. Yes.
Yeah.
Triple feature. So it's 3 of us doing feature sets
Awesome.
in a row. It'll be really fun.
Cool. That's great. So final questions don't have anything to do with your obsession, but they can if you want.
All right.
If you could control an animal with your mind, what kind of animal?
Sloth.
Nice.
I would, like how Ant-Man like makes them all the ants come to him.
Yeah.
I would do that with, it would take a
real
really long time.
All of the
By the
sloths
time-
come to me.
By the time I'm like maybe my grandchildren would get them.
Right.
By the time they all crawled to me. But that's what I would do. I'd just be like, come here, sloth.
That'd be great if you wanted to like fill up your show.
Yeah.
At Comedy Palace. Like sloths, slowly make your way to Comedy Palace.
Yes. Let's meet at the Chinese restaurant, sloths.
Slowly make their way up the stairs.
There's one at the LA Zoo. I feel like it would take him less time.
Yeah, you can get there pretty quick. Just
feel
a couple weeks.
San Diego Zoo, sloths.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe like 6
2 years.
months. 2
Yeah.
years is probably more accurate.
6 months, 2 years.
Yeah.
If you could burn a word into the moon so everyone could see that one word, what word would you burn into the moon?
Bangs. That's just the first word. That's how bad it is. It's not the best word. It's not what I'd really choose. It's the
it's
only
just
word I can think of.
It's all you can see in front of you right now is bangs.
Literally and metaphorically.
Bangs. I would love that because I think most people would probably interpret that as, oh, the hair? But it might seem a little threatening, like
they might
like
not.
multiple gunshots.
Yeah.
Bangs.
Bangs. It's so abstract and it's like almost the most upsetting thing to have on the moon.
Yeah.
Because you wasted it.
You wasted burning
It's so
one word into the moon.
cavalier that it's like, oh my god, she doesn't care
Yeah.
what word goes on the moon.
You might as well like burn a shrugging emoji in there.
Yeah, it's not peace. It's not love. It's not great deals on cars.
Bangs.
Hashtag my Twitter handle. Nothing. It's just bangs.
This is the final question for everyone on the podcast.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
What is happiness?
Happiness is watching a sim burn to death in a room by himself. Happiness is fresh bangs on a Thursday afternoon. Happiness is sloths slowly making their way up from Costa Rica. Happiness is those things.
Those are all great answers.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
That is our podcast.
You've been listening to Obsessed. Joseph Scrimshaw and his guest shared some stories with the rest. Rate 5 stars if you're impressed.
Never made it as a wise man. Couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing. Tired of living like a blind man. Sick of sighing without a sense of feeling. And this is how bangs remind me. This is how bangs remind me of who I really am. This is how bangs remind me of who I really am. It's not like you to say sorry. I'm tired of hearing about your bangs. This time I'm mistaken. 4 bangs and you were heart worth breaking. I've been down. I've been wrong. I had a life that I didn't have bangs with. These 5 words in my head scream, are we having bangs yet? Bangs, bangs, are we having bangs yet? Bangs, bangs, are we having fun yet? It's not like you didn't know that. I said I love bangs and I swear I still do. And it must have been so bad. 'Cause living with bangs must have damn near killed you. And this is how bangs remind me. This is how bangs remind me of who I really am. This is how bangs remind me.